Welcome to another episode of the Icons Edit, and today I'm discussing your favourite subject and mine, which is Sex and the City. Now, we have done this before, but there is so much to discuss. We're going to do another deep dive, and I have a very special guest. He's a personal friend of mine, producer, stylist, writer. Introduce yourself, why don't you? Andrew Christie, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Andrew Christie. I work for Wingman Magazine. That's my primary job. I do everything there under the owner, great owner, Mike McCarthy. And then I do produce fashion events. I also do shows off Broadway. We had Andrew Keegan in one of them, Nicole Bilderback, Diana Uribe, Super Bowl winner Zach Moore, with Triple C Productions, Christie's Case Crackers. They're kind of like Agatha Christie murder mysteries. Come check them out. We're at the next one, June 20th, at the Thespis Theater in Astoria, the Hellenic Cultural Center.
Amazing. So we met at Fashion Week. Yes. Andrew organises a lot of Fashion Week events, and that's how he's also like a follower of mine because he's a huge Sex and the City fan, which is why he's here to talk about the show.
I am a huge fan of Sex and the City, but I want to say first and foremost, I'm a huge fan of you.
Oh my God,
stop.
And
that's why I'm doing this show, is because I am a huge fan of you. I think that you're one of the best in the business in terms of what you do.
You're so kind.
And that's why I had you at the Fashion Week stuff.
You're my fluffer.
I'm your fluffer. I guess that.
Can you come every week and just fluff me before I start?
I really am such a fan of yours, I have to say, and I'm anything. I would not do this regularly.
No,
but,
he really wouldn't. This is a favor.
And not that I'm not scared to be on camera or talking or anything like that, even though the cancel culture is real.
We're going to talk about cancel culture, because I really want to get into cancel culture.
But for you, I think that you should be the top person who's interviewing everybody. I like, especially on red carpets. I just think you're wonderful at this. And I always say I'm a fan first, whether it's entertainment, whatever. And I am a fan of you. I think that the internet has changed very rapidly. Because like, if you even go to my personal Instagram, I'm like, I'm not into Instagram. I'm not into social media, right, whatever it is. And I wasn't for a really long time. I wasn't. I think that it was very, oh, Gina from the gym is posting her lunch. Who cares?
Yeah.
And then I think the cream sort of rose to the top, and there are really good people in different avenues. And you're one of the best in terms of fashion and fashion history and all of that.
You're so kind. Thank you. Right. Start talking about me now. Let's talk about, I'm always like, I'm so British about this. I get so embarrassed. I want to talk, I thought what we should start with, because we don't touch on this very often when we do Sex and the City stuff, the men of Sex and the City.
Yes.
Because there's so much to unpack there. And Andrew, you've styled, is it 3 or 4 of the top the cast members, the male cast members?
So I've in the magazine that I work for, Wingman Magazine, I have had 3 of them. I've had Jason Lewis, who is Smith.
We're going to talk about him.
They probably know.
Of course.
Chris Noth, Mr. Big, and Mario Cantone, who's Anthony. We've also had Natasha, Bridget Moynihan, and Candice Bushnell, who created it.
Oh, see, you could just do this podcast. Do you want to swap chairs?
No, not at all.
So, all right, let's talk about some of this. So, in terms of, so you've styled them recently, right? As in the past couple of years.
Yes. Well, Chris Noth very recently.
I remember seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of them have been within 7 years' time, but certainly Mario and Chris within the past. Yeah.
Now, how is the experience? Because I'm guessing that when you've met them, I know you're styling them for something different, but do you talk about Sex and the City with them?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about everything.
And how do they feel about the show now? All of them, I'm interested, because you know how a lot of celebrities are very keen to sort of, oh, I did that thing, but it's I don't want to talk about it anymore. How are they all about that?
I think that Sex and the City is really one of the most iconic television shows of all time. Most people who have anything to do with it are honored to have. I mean, Candice Bushnell created it, you know, so.
Yeah, and Candice, I've met her myself, and she's a great character. But of course, she disassociated herself slightly with the production. I think from season 3, maybe. I think it was never very clear what had happened. I don't know whether it was going too far away from her original vision from the book, but I know she kind of really stepped away from the kind of production of it.
Yeah, she but at the same time, you know, she has her own empire that she's running that sort of has the brand attached. She did her own one-woman shows, and she's brilliant, and she's what's interesting is, you know, I think the Carrie was originally somewhat based on her.
Yeah.
But she's sort of more of a Samantha by the television.
Oh, interesting, really?
That's what I would think.
And how was Chris Noth when you started him recently? Because he's making a big comeback right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, he had just done the Blue Jacket Fashion Show, which is a great charity for I think prostate cancer.
Okay.
And Mario Cantone had done it too. I know Mario speaks very highly of Chris.
Yeah.
And as does John Corbett. And he was lovely. He was great to style. I will say this, he is like I believe he's 70, 71, something like
71,
that.
I believe, yes.
He is so handsome in person, you can't believe it.
We need to get him.
At 71, you can't believe how handsome
Well,
he is.
I was actually shocked recently when I think I was Googling for some reason and it popped up that he was 71. And I was like, I did not think that. In my head, he was like 60s.
No, yeah.
It is. He looks fantastic. And look,
in person, and like, I mean, you know, when you're in the wardrobe room and stuff, the way he can take off a shoe and a sock by just standing up, and he's so tall, and you know, not like I can't even do that. Like I need to sit down and put on my shoe, but like
he's a professional,
sturdy. He's really sturdy.
And does he have that charisma, that
yes,
Mr. Big
very
charisma?
Much so. Very much.
And is he like Mr. Big?
No. So
different.
I mean, well, I think that actually he's like Mr. Big in the fact that he brought himself into it, and he was talking about that when I was with him on set. He said that like they realized that he could do comedy, so let's make Mr. Big funnier rather than just this tree that's like this impossible man.
And he was funny in the show. We sort of, he was so like deadpan.
Yeah,
the delivery was so deadpan, but he was funny.
No, he added a lot more comedy rather than just being this like this mystery man. And he didn't want to just be that. He wanted to have more of a character, more to do. And I think that he does have his own charisma, and he is ridiculously charming and again, very, very handsome, very handsome.
And, you know, and we're not going to go into depth, but I want to say that it would be silly if I didn't mention, obviously, the controversy that's happened with Mr. Big over the years, Chris Noth. And we're not here to comment on that, and we're certainly not here to discuss the merits of it. But
what was the word you used to?
What did I say? Conscious. Why did you say?
Because it was so British. It was adorable.
What do you say?
Controversy.
What did I say?
Controversy.
I did.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes. Being British, I do have that different delivery, which is hilarious.
So
I was like, what did I just say?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously he's gone through some difficult times. We're not here to discuss the merits of that, and we're not going to kind of what's right or wrong. However, I will say, and we will touch on this because we talked about this before, it's out of control, cancel culture.
Yeah, I'm not into mob mentality in general. And
no,
I know
I'm
that,
not at
like,
all.
again, when I saw Mario Cantone was a proponent of, you know, him walking that fashion show and stuff. And I think that even Michael Patrick King, who I don't know their relationship at all. Michael Patrick King works on The Comeback, and The Comeback recently touched on this and touched on
cancel culture.
On this specific issue of cancel culture of that whole debacle, not really Chris Noth, but just in general. And I think that what he touched upon in the show, The Comeback, was that you kind of just have to keep going in life. You know, it's like,
absolutely.
Even when the mob comes for you, you have to,
mean,
you're not dead. You have to keep going. There's a world where, of course, everyone's opinion matters. And, you know, we're
you're
talking about,
to your
and
opinion.
we're really
Absolutely.
talking about serious things and like, you know, but at the same time, you are trying to bring joy to the world. You're trying to talk about a show that people love, fashion that people love, and none of it is really diving into anything controversial.
No.
I don't know how you're saying it.
This is where cancel culture is out of control, and I do think it's mostly a new generation, a younger generation of people watching these shows and these actors who are creating the cancel culture.
Right.
But, you know, some of the people that have been really mean to me are like 50-year-old women who are like, or grandmothers. And so you can't even say it's the younger generation.
You know, I think that people sit behind their computers and they think that they can say anything. And at the same time, like, cool. Like, you know, everyone has an opinion. Like, share your opinions and stuff like that. That's
just
fine.
Don't be mean, though. Like, be kind.
I think that everyone should just talk the way they would talk if they were at a public dinner table or something like that.
Absolutely.
Because I'm very open with the things that I say, and
me too.
But I wouldn't be ashamed to say it out loud in public. And I'd also monitor enough to know that I'm not just being mean for no reason.
You know, you're constructive and positive. You always have been every time.
I could be negative if we want to go that direction.
We could all be negative, but
right. And it's like, and you know, at the same time, we're sitting right here, and we. Thank you for giving me this platform. You know, we could say something like, for example, we didn't like this actor on the show or whatever, and we have our right to say that, and they have their right to comment, and if they want to say that, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But I also just think anytime a mob gets together on anything in history, that's never been constructive to society.
Never. And I think, circling back to Chris, I think there's a huge amount of support. Personally, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's not supporting whether it's right or wrong. We're just saying, okay, the guy's he's having a second chance. Have at it. And
Well,
he's trying his best.
again, all I know from him was that he was lovely with me, and I was so honored
Take
to
people as you find them.
work. And I just also know that in what we do, he's an icon, you know, and
he is an icon, and let's not forget that. And I hope I can convince him to come on the podcast, because if he does, I don't want to talk about any of that. I'm not interested.
No,
in that.
I didn't
want
either.
to talk about
his
the
career.
fact that he was on Sex and the City, and if he hadn't have been on that show, would it have been the same show?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's one of those things where everything kind of came together right, and he's a big part of that.
Because I think I've heard him say this, he was never supposed to be there for the long run. I think they brought him in and with the intention that he was probably going to go out of it, and he was so successful and read so well on camera, and people responded to that relationship that he ended up being through there.
Well, and I think, you know, what's interesting too, I don't want to go too off topic, but Love Story is now such a hit. A huge hit. And I think that people want to believe in this New York fairy tale, right?
Yeah.
And he really played this, I guess, what people wanted JFK Jr. to be, right? Like he fed into that. When we shot him, the woman from the hotel, Manju from the Huntley Hotel, I love her. The Huntley Hotel is one of the best hotels in Santa Monica.
And that's where you did the shoot with
Where
Chris.
I did the shoot with him. She came over and she goes, I just want you to know you made my life. And he goes, no, I didn't. He's so
self-effacing.
He's so not like, he was just like, no, I didn't. Like, you know, your life was made long before. Like, don't worry about it. Like, really humble, really nice, really like, nope, that's really not who I am. And he was very much like, I'm not Prince Charming. Like, he's like, I'm more of an Aidan than a Big. He was like, you know.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, he was like, I'm more of an Aidan than a Big. I put him in a suit. He looked great in a suit. And then I put him in these cargo pants.
But he's more casual, isn't he?
Yeah,
as
he
a
took
person.
the cargo pants home. He was like, this is my style. This is more of what I wear. Like,
that.
really casual, really, you know. And him and John Corbett, I believe, are very good friends. And
in real life?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the scene with the green bee when they're fighting at the cabin upstate. I think that's probably one of the funniest scenes in the entire
Yeah, I think they
show.
both wanted to do comedy so much, both
day
of
or
the
night,
guys.
night or day.
Yeah.
She can contact me. I can't contact her. Carrie's just sitting in the back going, because they're friends.
Right.
Like, they come together. And
And
so
they had good chemistry
I'm
together,
not even
too.
surprised that because the chemistry's there. I'm not surprised that you're telling me that they're friends in real life. Were you a Big or an Aidan?
Neither. This is
who do you think who should she have been with?
herself. That's it. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that one of the big things that and Just Like That got right was the movies. You know, I think the show was always supposed to be revolutionary about single women being, you know, celebrated, and it's okay to not be chasing a man. And by the end of the show, I was okay with I was comfortable, because she said the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. I think that's great.
And true.
But they still tied a special bow around every couple and made it like everyone got their happy ending.
Which
and
I think we like to see. We want a happy ending.
Well, I think, okay, so that's, we're so not on the men of Sex and City, but that's
this is how it goes on this podcast.
But I think that like within Just Like That, it sort of returned to that, but it lost its fabulosity. It wasn't as fabulous anymore. And people want to see the love story. They want to see the fabulousness, which I think that Devil Wears Prada with Meryl, the second one is so good in terms of what we do and people who just want to work. And it kind of righted all the wrongs of the first movie,
right?
In terms of being smart and having a good message, which is Andy was a dumb young girl chasing a guy. And now it's okay, good. We're so happy just to be working. Really positive messages, but it lost the fabulosity of the first movie.
Yeah.
And like, again, it's like something like, I think Sex and the City is a great show, an iconic show. I don't think it's the best show of all time.
Right.
I think that some of the messages in the first one were flawed, but it was really more about a love letter to New York and being fabulous in fashion.
It is a love letter to New York. And it is and let's face it, it's interesting. I was thinking of this and people are going to go, what? It's not my top TV shows of all time. Mine's Friends. I'm a massive Friends fan. I knew you were going to hate that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge, huge Friends fan. But, you know, there's other shows I would name before it, which is crazy given what I do.
Right.
Oh, I love the show. I'm obsessed with it. But for me, it was the fashion.
No, for sure.
It's Pat Field. It's the fashion.
Which is also The Devil Wears Prada. The first one is Pat Field. Field. And I think you want to talk about integral to the show's success. Pat Field is number one, probably.
Absolutely. I think if Pat hadn't come in and stamped her very specific imprint all over it, I don't think it would have been the same show.
No, not at all. And I think that that's, again, what made Devil. I think that, if you're selling this fairy tale, this romanticized version of New York in fashion, you want something like that. And then if you're going to kind of hollow it out and make it about aging and being alone or being like publishing dying, which is great, and I love all of those topics, you are taking away some of the fabulousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it becomes something different for the mainstream audiences that want to see that. And I think Darren's, like, here's the other thing too, Darren Star and Michael Patrick King are two very, very different creators. And Michael Patrick King is wonderful at, especially if you watch The Comeback, hitting those really more profound moments, right?
Yeah.
And I think in Just Like That tried to veer in that direction. I don't know if it succeeded as much, but by the end, at least the message was she was happy with herself.
Right. But Darren Star also, interestingly enough, also removed himself along with Candice or Candice?
I think it's Candice Bushnell. Yeah.
See, I can't say that. I'm not American. Candice.
Controversial.
Okay, Candice. They both removed themselves around the same sort of time.
Yes.
And if you really deep dive into Sex and the City, you'll get a lot of commentary about this, saying there was a shift when those two people.
Yeah, I know more insider stuff on that. I'm not going to share that, but
well, you can't just say that.
But I do
share it.
But I will say this: Darren Star is brilliant at crafting a fairy tale.
There is no doubt
so,
about
like,
that.
for him, it's like what he did, 90210 was the teenage fairy tale.
One of my favorite shows ever.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Me too.
Brenda Walsh, my forever style muse.
I love her.
Yeah.
Love Jenny Garth. She was the first celebrity I ever met when I was 9 years old.
Oh.
And her daughter is lovely.
She looks just like her.
Beautiful. And but Darren Star created the high school fantasy. Then it was this soapy Melrose Place yuppie like 20-something fantasy. Then it became the 30-something
which is
fantasy.
where he met Kristen, of course, and how Kristen ended up being auditioned for Charlotte, and she had to be Charlotte. There couldn't have been another one.
In 90210, during like season 7 or 8, when they graduated from college, they started making them like in real jobs and stuff. And that was not Darren Star's intention. It was a fairy tale, not poor rich kids struggling to get jobs after college.
Right.
And that's why you have to kind of, if you're pitching a fairy tale and that's what the audience is attracted to, you have to remember to keep that. And Just Like That, Devil Wears Prada 2, like if you're selling fabulosity, you need to keep fabulosity.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what we're attracted to. I don't think Beverly Hills 90210 is the best written show of all time.
No, it's not. But my God, it changed a generation.
Right,
I was so young when that came out, and I was just, they were what I aspired to be, to look like. And
Me too,
I'm going to make
absolutely.
you come back and talk about 90210,
Let's bring some of them. Let's bring Ian Ziering. He's lovely.
Yeah, because I'm a huge fan of that show, and I've been looking to do a podcast on that, but I couldn't find anyone that was a good enough expert, because you don't really see a lot of Instagram pages about this.
I'm certainly an expert on 90210.
Okay.
I could talk about that forever.
You just got yourself into so much trouble because you're going to have to come back.
But anything for you. But what's interesting is that like 90210 again was the teenage fantasy. And I think that Darren Star sort of clocked that for each generation, even with younger, if I don't know if you ever watched that, but.
Oh yeah, of course. Nico's a friend of mine. I did a movie with him years ago.
He's
wonderful.
Fantastic. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
And you want to talk handsome, Nico,
I spent
the most handsome man who ever lived.
Working with I starred Nico
Tortorella.
Yeah, and he's fantastic
and wonderful in person and really, really charming.
He's one of the sweetest, most kindest people.
And really,
I've
I think probably one of the top 10 best looking people I've ever seen in.
I love him. He's so charming.
And I think that show also was the new fairy tale of like, You're Not Dead Yet at 40s, and now he has Emily in Paris, which is the travel fantasy.
Yeah,
and I think that fantasy, everything doesn't have to be so profound. Everything doesn't have to, like, it can be something that's a fun escape, but then you keep it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were not a big or an Aidan, but which one did you think was hotter at the time? Remember, who did you go, oh yeah? You didn't think any of them, did you?
I mean, I feel like if anything, I would have been a Smith person.
Well, let's talk about him. I just saw him post something on Instagram the other day where he was talking about being a model and then kind of what happens afterwards, because he's now 50s, I want to say. I think he's 50s. He still looks incredible.
He wears clothes very well, as did Chris Noth, I think, and as did Mario Cantone, as did Bridget Moynihan, as did Candice Bushnell. I think that show really they found people who did wear clothes well, like Mario Cantone. I'm a little Italian guy too, and you know, he just wears clothes very, very well. And I think that that's part of the fantasy that they were selling. Even the guys, everybody just was able to wear some kind of fashion. And certainly Jason Lewis is one of those guys. I think I put him in like a ripped off, like it was from Skids. It was a flannel shirt, just ripped the sleeves. And I mean, he looked.
I mean, with the body, the height,
He's
the
phenomenal.
hair. I mean, what's he like in person to work with?
He's silly. He's funny.
Really, like
yeah.
goofy kind of surfer guy, that sort of vibe.
A little bit of that,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Really, really nice, and just again, really love. Like all of them have been very lovely. Bridget Moynihan is really. She's such a strong personality. She is very matter of fact, and I am too. So I love this about her.
Yeah.
And I think that she's really not a Sex in the City kind of gal in that way.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
in some ways it makes her even more of like what the show should be, because she's someone who just has such strength to her and such power, and she's very decisive. She knows what she wants. She's not Hollywood in that way, which I kind of love too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of the main cast of men, what's so interesting about Sex and the City is, unlike most other TV shows, the men are secondary. Like they're very integral, but they're secondary to the storyline. So we had, you know, the Steve. What's your thoughts on Steve? You're like, not much.
Yeah, I think that like a lot of the times with most of these relationships, I think the women should have been single, you know, for permanently single. I think, you know, Steve, he offered something different, offered a new kind of guy there, which, you know, he was his Prince Charming in his own way, which was really nice and simple. And, you know, Miranda needed that at that time.
I mean, I think he's a great character. Do you think she should have ended up with him as her
Clearly
forever?
not, because I guess she, you know, decided that she liked women in the end.
That's right.
You know, and you know what? I was thinking about this on the way over because I knew we were having this conversation. Like Debbie was really nice, and she ruined that for him, which sucks, you know?
Yeah. And she honestly was with one of the hottest men ever on the show.
Okay, so he's the hottest. Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah. What's Blair Underwood?
But Robert was one of the hottest guys to appear on the show, in my opinion.
He's legendary,
Absolutely
too.
gorgeous.
He's legendary.
And
I
a
can't
man
believe
of
I'm blanking
colour.
on his
And of
name.
course, one of the things that has been levied at the show.
And one of the
is the lack
nicest
of
guys.
diversity.
One of the nicest guys on the show. Like, you want to talk Prince Charming, he was successful, he was handsome.
Yeah.
I mean, a great actor too.
Yeah.
Really, really.
He just, for me, I think she should have stayed with him. Like, for me, it just worked. They got on. He was like the black Mr. Big in the way that he held himself. The delivery.
I think they could have dressed him better on the show.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But he just really had that. He's a little bit Idris, isn't he? He's got that Idris Elba, but Idris is British, so he has that other edge to him. But, you know.
But he's so handsome, and he really, I think he added a lot to the show too.
Yeah.
And
I would
great
happily
actor.
have had him stay with Miranda. I think
Me
that
too.
would have worked
Yeah.
better. What about Richard Wright?
I love Richard. I think those were some of the best episodes, and I think that was probably Samantha's like greatest moment was when
It really brought the acting skills out
Yeah,
of her as well in
yeah.
ways that possibly we didn't get to see up until she was in Love, because it
Yeah.
was always like, this has nothing to do with the men of Sex and the City, but people are now saying a big kind of criticism of the show, almost slut shaming Samantha, who was just proud about you know, having sex and whatever.
Well, isn't that the thing about being a
did
revolutionary?
there is a side to that I understand what people are trying to say was, for a long time, that's all she was.
Right.
We didn't get anything else.
And then once we hit her Richard storyline,
then
it
we
became a
get
little deeper.
Samantha,
Yeah.
and then we see some incredible moments. Like, I feel like the rooftop scene.
Me
in
too.
season
That's
4 with
yeah.
Sade playing.
That's
is-
the best song. Absolutely.
That's the best episode for me. I think the good fight is incredible. But that
Yes.
scene with Richard and Samantha on the roof,
Yeah,
where
I agree.
he gets her to be a real person, and we
Yes.
get to see who she truly
yeah.
is.
I think
is
that's one of the best
where-
episodes and scenes ever.
100%. And
Yeah.
so he was actually really useful as a male character. He was a good
And a
vehicle. He was a good
phenomenal
vehicle.
actor. So that's James Remar.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
he was
actor.
dickalicious
He
because it
was.
was all about his. This is the thing. It was like it was making a man about his penis, right? So
Right.
it's this turning the power over to women, which is, let's just make this guy all about his cock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that, you know, it's interesting how he was put into that little box. But then we saw those moments from him that were so great, like at the christening, you know, when they
Yeah.
get Brady christened and he's a Catholic.
No,
And
he
it's, you know,
was
it's-
complex. He was nuanced.
he was. He had layers,
yeah.
and it was nice because at first he was presented as a sex toy, but
Right.
then we start to see who he is. And do you think she should have gone back to him and stayed with him?
No, I'm really.
Could anybody after this?
I'm really of the mindset that it's okay to be single and it's okay.
Well, me too. We talked
right,
about this, of
and
course.
okay to just be with your friends. And I think that you love Friends. Now you love this show. It's like there's a recurring theme here,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
chosen family and making your friends your
And that is 100% what I love about both of these shows.
Yeah.
It's that
Golden
idea.
Girls is another one.
Yeah, because we don't really hear about the girls' family in Sex and the
No,
City.
they did that on purpose.
They started it in the earlier seasons. We saw like Charlotte's brother, and we had Miranda's sister.
That's Jack
occasionally.
Mulcahy, Charlotte's brother, and he is also a wonderful, wonderful person and a very.
I think he could have come back into it because I think one of the things my followers say all the time is, well, why did we see her brother? But when she got married, he was nowhere to be found. And there is those continuity things where it's like, if you're going to introduce a family member into a show that's not about family, traditional family, then at least bring them back when there needs to be a reason.
Right. He's a great guy, Jack Mulcahy.
On that, what about Trey as a lead at the time?
Well, I think that Trey was never intended to be Prince Charming, and because he first of all, he's another great actor, and I love Twin Peaks, Kyle MacLachlan, and he's got a fabulous podcast. But I think that was sort of a great thing that they did there, was to take someone who's so Prince Charming and make him such a failure on the Prince Charming front.
I mean, and he played it so well.
Yeah. Who is your favorite guy?
My favorite guy?
Yeah, who would Dawn want to be with for the rest of her life?
So this is not an unpopular opinion now after And Just Like That, but I was always Aidan. I really I think it's because he's so tall and such a man's man, but he's also soft and he's fun.
I think he had great chemistry with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Thank you. I say this all the time because people shout me down and say, no, big, and I'm like, no, the scenes. So I'll give you. There's two scenes with Carrie and Aidan that are so sublime. The one where Steve is in the apartment and Miranda's having the abortion and he doesn't know about it. And Carrie walks in and she jumps. And Aidan's in the bathroom and she's like, did you tell him about the abortion? He's like, no. And they're having this like very whispered conversation about whether Aidan has told Steve about Miranda.
Yeah.
The chemistry in that moment between the two of them.
They had phenomenal chemistry.
It's so fun. And then, of course, the good fight, when they have the fight about the shoe. You shoe-eating dog. Is there a better scene than the two of them arguing about the Cavalli top?
They were excellent together.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, again, back to I like them not being with anybody.
Yeah.
When they a lot of people were upset that they brought him in to ruin it and in Just Like That.
Well, I think that no one's ever really going to get over the wanking in the car scene, are they?
Yeah,
Let's face it. I think that's
I think they brought him back to sort of show his imperfections the whole time and why that relationship didn't work.
But they just destroyed him, and I think that it wasn't necessary, and that's a whole other topic.
Well, the whole show might have not been necessary.
I think so, because I think that whether you were a big or an Aidan supporter, Aidan left and you still loved the character. You still felt bad for him. You still felt like she broke his heart so many times. And she did. I mean, she was pretty awful to Aidan, let's face it.
Yeah, but okay, so then we're going to go right into that topic of Carrie, hero or villain.
We've got to finish on the men, but there is that big topic.
So we're going to come back to, is Carrie a villain or a hero?
Which is such an important topic.
Especially on Aidan.
The Aidan would be the issue of,
I don't think I ever thought of Aidan as a great guy to begin with. And I definitely didn't think of that. I think that they kind of uncovered that in Just Like That. And again, that's not the show. The show is a fantasy. The show is a fairy tale.
Right.
But they, Michael Patrick King is really good at finding those deeper moments and psychological moments. And there was things wrong with Aidan from the get-go.
Yeah. You're right. There were probably red flags if you were to see it. But I suppose
he wanted to change her.
He did. As a young girl watching it, I found him super attractive. And I didn't find Mr. Big attractive, but now I do as an older person.
That's the beauty of John Corbett, is that he made this guy so sexy. And like the way he held her and everything like that was just so sexy that you kind of overlook the fact that he is ultimately trying to change her and make her a person that she's not.
He's such a protector, and I think that's probably what always appealed to me.
And there's so many good things about his character too, even if he is trying to change her, even if he does want things that she doesn't want. I think that they're isn't that real life? That you're not just going to find someone who, like Trey, as funny as that was, is clearly wrong from the beginning.
Right.
Like, that was very obviously wrong from the beginning, whereas John Corbett, because of the way he played it, made it feel so right for so many moments. But that's, like, her own personal dilemma of what she's going through. Yeah. And, like, you're a Carrie, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yes.
So, you're not with an Aidan right now. And I
No.
think that if you found your Aidan, you'd probably realize that that is really not right for you
Not
either.
what you want. Yeah,
So
I think
it makes
that's
you feel
absolutely
those
true.
feelings as you're
Yeah.
watching the show. If he's your guy from that show, I think that one thing that you'd uncover if you had an Aidan is that he's not your guy.
Yeah. And then when we go on to Berger, who actually had quite a crucial storyline in terms of Carrie's evolution as a character. What were your thoughts on Berger? Because people hate him on my socials.
Yeah.
They just hate him.
He was one of those obviously wrong from the get-go that she couldn't
Well,
see.
he had some major issues that
Yeah.
I feel like were very real. I feel like a lot of guys share the same issues
But
that
I
he
think,
has.
Ron Livingston did a great job at it. And I think that their scenes were some of the best scenes too, in terms of like wanting to be like, Carrie, wake up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
it was great hat. You know,
Yeah.
like he was quite toxic.
And haven't you had those in your life, like guys who do that, who
yes,
just
of course.
throw those jabs and stuff?
I mean, I would never have seen him again after the bad sex, honestly.
Right?
I'd have been like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, and because that for me would just be no, thank you.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
but
he was. I think he was important because I think it was part of her having to circle back. But then we go directly into Alexander Petrovsky.
right,
Now-
also
now,
clearly wrong from the get-go.
Mikhail is now I've seen Sarah being interviewed about him. I think she had a crush.
I
on
think, well,
him.
she's a huge ballet
But
fan.
she's huge, but
So-
she talks about him in a way her eyes light up.
Yeah.
I
Well, she
think-
said once that she goes, you wanted to compete with Big. You wanted someone so prolific that and
It
I
had
think
to
for
be.
her, maybe that was the case. I don't think for the audience, we all felt the same way.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
again, we hate him. We don't hate him though. I think that now a lot of people talk to me and they say he was so handsome and so dashing,
Yeah.
and he didn't really do anything wrong.
I loved his apartment.
I loved his apartment.
I mean-
oh my God, but he didn't.
It was almost as nice as this amazing studio. Let's shout out the studio. So nice.
Yeah, our studio is amazing.
It's beautiful here.
But he is interesting in that because he didn't actually do anything wrong. Like
No.
he was always honest about
Yeah.
who he was. He said, come to Paris. I want you to come with me. But
she
he's
got her
like,
wake-up call.
yeah, don't expect me to be in your pocket all the time. I'm
Right.
busy, do your own thing. But it's Carrie, she's needy.
And so she is a problematic person unto herself.
Yeah.
And I think that that's okay. I think that, when you're talking about the pitfalls of dating and stuff, I don't think she was ever supposed to not be flawed. She's
Yeah.
certainly flawed.
Yeah.
And that was a wake up call for her. It's like, maybe you're not the problem. Maybe even Post-it guy is not the problem. Maybe I'm the problem because I haven't actually faced what I want yet.
Right.
And then she kind of faced what she wanted.
But her fashion, just touching on this, when she was with Petrovsky,
The best.
sublime.
I know. He brought out the best in her
She
style.
becomes
style-wise.
a woman in a way
Yeah.
that she's so. SJP is a very sexy woman because she's very petite. She has the most
Wears
banging
clothes
body,
very well.
but she's curvy. She has some curves, and
Yeah.
so she can be really sexy as well. She pulls off.
She
Sexy.
always wore clothes well.
Yeah.
If you ever see girls
She's a
just want to
clothes-
have fun,
Yeah, she's a clothes horse.
great clothes.
And she's got the most perfect proportions, the great shoulders,
and she's an excellent dancer.
yeah, she's
moves well.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
So she is sexy, but when she was with him, she was womanly sexy,
Yeah.
whereas before it was more like a different vibe. So I did like the glow up that she had with
Yeah.
him,
No,
and
her
of
style
course
was
that was
beautiful.
setting her. The whole thing was setting it up to go back to Big, and that scene, when she's leaving for Paris and Big, and because I don't live here anymore, it's one of the most incredible scenes.
So, like, if you watch Beverly Hills 90210, which now we know we do,
Yeah.
you do. I mean, the guys on that show, Dylan, Brandon.
Dylan is my forever love, by the way.
And everyone says he's. I had his son in the magazine. His son is the nicest guy ever.
Luke
and
Perry was for me.
everyone says that. Rebecca Gayheart said he's the best there ever was and ever will be.
Yeah, I will die on that hill.
No,
Luke
Christy
Perry-
Swanson says
Luke
the same
Perry
thing.
is my
True nice guy.
Yeah.
And like when you watch that show, you're like, God, even though Dylan is a really problematic character, like you just love him. I never watched Sex and the City like feeling that way about the guys.
No, that's so true, and I'm so glad
Yeah.
you hit on that because I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
No, never,
and
not
that's when you
once.
said to me, "Well, who was your favorite guy?" I was like, I never had that.
Right.
Oh God. We'll talk about the guest stars in a minute because I definitely had that with a couple of the guest stars,
Yes.
but never the main characters. I never wanted
Like
to
the
be
guy,
with any
I don't
of
know who
them.
this actor is, and I don't want to insult anybody, but the actor who played the guy that was good on paper, it's like, what about him is good on paper?
Dr. Bradley Migo.
Like what?
He's on my list of hot or nots. We're
and
gonna talk about.
for sure not, right?
Yeah,
and like,
I mean, no.
And this was the kind of guy that they kept seeing again and again. That was like,
Awful.
oh, isn't he? Isn't he? Like, what about him is good on paper? He's such a nerd.
Yeah.
Whereas on 90210, pretty much any guy who entered that scene was
incredible.
Phenomenal.
You're so right.
Right.
And that's something I'd never thought. And this is why I really wanted to do the Men of Sex and the City with you, because I've never thought of that before.
Right.
And no one had actually said it to me. And I've gone, yeah, I
Right.
never had a guy that I would put on my wall and be like,
Nothing
oh,
like
whereas
that.
Dylan,
No.
you know, Luke Perry
Yeah.
was on my wall.
Maybe David Duchovny. He was a guest star. And
Oh, well, I mean,
He's-
Bradley Cooper was in it too as well, although he wasn't cute then, not in that particular scene. But
do you think he's cute now?
not now, but I did probably 15 years ago,
Okay.
maybe. I don't know. I
Love
wouldn't-
Bradley Cooper.
I mean,
Great
I wouldn't
actor.
kick him out of bed,
Right.
but you know,
I
like,
think that he is like, he's not like a beautiful Jason Priestley face, which they're very good friends, or they were. They were like, he was best man at wedding.
Yeah, you're right though. The cast of 90210,
Smith was probably the
everyone
most
beautiful.
hunky.
So yeah, Smith definitely. I mean, he's gorgeous.
Let's
man.
do your hot or not game. Let's do that.
But wait, we have
Okay,
to quickly, because people are going to go, why didn't you talk about him?
Okay.
We just need to talk about Harry. Because we haven't touched
Harry's
on Harry.
great. Harry's fantastic.
How do we feel about the fact that Charlotte the Wasp, through the whole of the show, was looking for that handsome,
brilliant.
tall, handsome, dark, classic, you know, good-looking guy, and ends up with Harry? And this is not to say he's not good-looking. I'm not saying that, but she goes, in the end, she ends up with the complete polar opposite of what her personality type would typically go for.
Right. I
what
love
do we
that.
feel?
I love that. I think that that's, that was well crafted throughout the whole show, which
Is that
again,
maybe the most successful relationship? You know how you prefer them to
Yeah.
be single, but this one is probably
Yeah.
one where it really works.
well, especially for someone like Charlotte who really wanted children and always knew that about herself too. I don't think that like everyone just needs to be single to be happy.
Yeah.
But I think that it showed, people are far from where they started or didn't expect it, And I think that that was a good arc for her. And I think they kind of seemed to know that from the get-go of where she was going.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Harry isn't up on my wall either.
No, because he was very
love him.
hairy and he was very sweaty.
Yeah,
so
well,
he's
sweaty
definitely
is not up on my wall for sure.
Sweaty's not on mine. I'm an OCD germaphobe. I don't
Yeah.
do sweat. No, thank you. But I did love that for her. And probably out of all the relationships, that was the one that I was most happy about. Like, I felt good about that.
And all of these guys are very good actors and maybe in a different setting. But I also think because the focus was on the girls, if you fell too hard in love with a guy that he was on your wall or anything like that, like, I don't know if you ever watched the show Girlfriends, but that's like the black Sex in the City.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And Tracy Ellis Ross, I believe, was always very adamant on the fact that her character didn't need the guy in
Right.
the end, and I think a lot of the guys that came on that show too were not supposed to be Brandon or Dylan because it was about the girls and it was about their journey together
Right.
and stuff like that. And I appreciate that. I don't think, and I think that there's something to be said for actors like Chris Noth, like John Corbett, like Kyle MacLachlan, who come in and are able to play the character that is right in some ways, but maybe not right in other ways. And because everybody just wants to be Dylan, where even though the character's problematic, we're still supposed to believe in that love anyway and just root for him and be like, oh my God, I want her with him.
Yes.
And to come in and to be an actor and play a guy who is more nuanced and more about kind of maybe even waking the audience up to the fact that the man isn't everything.
Yeah.
Is a strong quality in an actor.
Yeah.
And I think all the actors that were on Sex and the City, all the male actors, did a very good job of
They
doing
were
that.
chosen extremely well.
Extremely well.
Now let's do hot or not then.
Okay,
So
let's do
we're going to try. So there were 107 men,
Okay, let's go through all of them.
which actually doesn't seem like enough. In
No.
my head, it's like surely there was more.
Yeah.
So 107. 7 of those are sort of the main.
They only slept with 107 people.
How
and
is-
people and through all of them. And people are calling them sluts. That's me on a weekend. Kidding. Joking.
No, but I actually had the same reaction. I was like,
Yeah.
was it really only? I thought that was Samantha on her
107 guys.
own.
That's like a slow day on Fire Island.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dead. So of the 107, let's say 7 of them are kind of the main characters we've talked about already. So
Yeah.
that's 100 one episode or 2 episode arc guys.
Right.
So let's talk about them. John Slattery, the politician.
Oh, he is beautiful and talented, and I'd pee on him all day. I
Well,
mean,
would you let him pee on you?
maybe. I mean, he's really hot.
I mean, so
He was successful.
I had this discussion on my, I do my weekly Q&A on Instagram, and we do it was the politician episode last week, and the overriding was he was gorgeous.
Would they all let him pee on them?
The most people said yes.
Okay, good. Then I
Some
don't
people
feel
were like,
such a
no, he
freak.
was gross, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. he was a bit like she says, I'm the guy. You know, he wasn't cool.
I mean, he is such a great actor, and on
Yeah.
Mad Men, and he's beautiful, really dapper. Love him.
He's got charisma.
Yeah,
and
for
I
days.
think that he's in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The first 2 of season 3, which is one of my favorite seasons.
Yeah.
And again, her outfits in those 2 episodes
Beautiful.
to mirror him are phenomenal.
I love your recreation of the Jimmy Choo scene.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I love all your. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
but
I'm
babe,
such a fan.
I
Dawn.
went.
I'm
I
such
went
a
to.
fan.
Thank you. I went to Staten Island, and do you know I'm so
That's
bad.
commitment.
I went. My mom came with me. I'm wearing the Comme des Garçons coat, and I'm trying not to sit on the ferry because hello, it's white and it's archival. And we get to Staten Island, and my mom. This is so funny. Shout out to my mom. Had already been over the 2 days early to scope it out, and she's like, I don't think they're going to let you do it in the underground car park. And I was like, no, they will. I'll just be nice. I'll charm them. Those bastards would not let me film even a second.
Wow.
As soon as you get off the ferry in the lower dock, it's all blocked off. So where she does that scene where the barrier goes up,
Yeah.
you can't even get down there to do
Wow.
it. And so I had to do it on the roof of the Staten Island ferry. And I was like, this is not the same.
And also, like, you went all the way to Staten Island for it. I mean,
I know. And I really
we
wanted...
love Staten Island.
Yeah, and I want to go and have a Staten Island iced tea. Like, hello, I'm drunk. You know, I
Right.
really want to do that because, and the outfit she wears
Everybody
in the bar,
talks like this over there.
Oh, yeah. They're nice over there, though. I
They're
feel like they're
wonderful.
like so friendly. We should go there one day just for fun.
For
and
sure.
I'll wear the tube top. I recreated that.
Dawn, you're so lucky I'm here. Staten Island is not happening, but yeah.
All right. Well, I'll work on that one.
So much love to Staten Island. Maybe if you know what, if any restaurant wants us to come and do a review in Staten Island, a really nice restaurant, we'll bring some famous people.
Or
and
a bar where
Yeah.
you serve Staten Island iced
show us
tea.
the beauty of Staten Island and let us see it.
I'm down.
And Dawn is the best. She'd be happy to promote it.
I will wear my outfit with the Cavalli jeans,
Yes.
the gold Cassidy boots, and the little tube top with my Chanel accessories and my Bulgari necklace.
Guys, if you are in Staten Island and you want a business to promote,
Yeah.
invite us and we will come. Because we want to
will
see the beauty of Staten
come.
Island.
We should start why don't we start a new thing where we just go to random
Sex
places?
in Staten Island.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sex
I'm
in
making
the
a mental note of this.
SI.
Right. Mr. Cocky.
Mr. Cocky, which one is that? You got to remind me.
He was so huge, Samantha could not even have sex with him.
It's the one who's Bobby Parisi from Melrose Place, is it?
The one that she's wearing the red dress, she's walking down the street and
I
he
wish I
follows
remembered him.
her.
I don't remember him.
Oh, I'll put a reference photo for people. But Mr. Cocky apparently
Couldn't be too good 'cause I don't
apparently dated Madonna. He was a huge guy, pretty gorgeous. Siobhan.
Siobhan's cute. Yeah.
I mean, again, a man of color, but they
Yeah.
made. Do we think it was a little problematic the way
For
they
sure.
made the issue about him being black? Like,
For
was
sure.
it too much of like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it was almost like, hey, we've got a black guy. Let's talk about the fact that he's black and let's make
Right.
it such a thing where it's like, well, I don't think we need to do that because it's not. What's the like?
He was hot. I love Samantha's dress when she's with him. The slits, the double slit.
I've looked to try and get that dress. I would have worn that
an
dress 10
amazing
years ago. I
dress.
feel like I used to go clubbing in dresses.
No, you
like
should wear that dress now.
I'd have
You
to go to the
should.
gym a bit. I know you have a thought about this one. Wade, the comic book guy. We talked about.
yeah. The one who lived with his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him. He's cool. I mean, he's not like.
I didn't think he
Yeah.
wasn't cute for me. Like I was
Yeah.
like, ooh.
Yeah, he's fine. Whatever. Fine.
Yeah. So not or hot.
Not. Let's go with not. He's fine.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to try to keep a straight face when I say this. The hot cop when Carrie gets mugged for her Manolos and she's in the Chinese barbers.
Don't
and
like
this-
him. No.
Oh, God, he's the hottest guy ever.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
God, the first time I saw that guy, I was like,
No, you know who's hot that was on the show? Timothy Oliphant. He's hot.
oh no, but he played such a weird character. He was like he was the one that she had the tongue piercing that she used to just make out with all
Right,
the time.
yeah.
But I didn't think he was hot in that. I think he's hot in life now.
He's so hot. Really good
But
looking.
the hot cop, oh my God! So he would be the one if you asked me out of every man on Sex and the City.
I got to go back and look at
the
him.
hot cop that takes Miranda out,
Yeah.
and then she knows how hot he is, so she gets totally paranoid
Right.
and starts drinking. He's my yeah.
have
Let's
to
see if
go
you
back
remember
and
this
look.
one. Howie Halberstein, the Jackrabbit. So at Charlotte's wedding,
Yeah.
they hook Carrie up with the
Right.
Jewish, very super like Jewish guy who is the cousin of
And she
Harry.
gets a neck cramp. Yeah. No,
Not.
not hot, and I don't really remember him either.
No, all right. Now, Justin Theroux played two characters. He played Jared and Vaughn.
I think Justin Theroux has a really great entertainment team behind him that has pushed him to the point of, I guess, somewhat being a name, but he's really not a name. I mean,
That's interesting. I kind of concur with
got
that.
with Jennifer Aniston. Who knows if that was real?
Right.
And I think that they've been pushing. I mean, now he was just in The Devil Wears Prada.
That was weird. Was me and Julian went to the premiere and we sat and watched that and I went, is that? And he went, no. I went, it is.
I think that let me try and put a positive spin on that. I think that if you think that your team in Hollywood does not matter, Justin Theroux is proof that it does.
Right. So So in terms of his role, which is so weird, he played two characters one in season 1, one in season 2,
right? Which
is very weird. It's like, is there no other actors in New York?
Well, again, his team is
really good,
really good.
But in both instances, certainly the Vaughn character, where he just was a premature ejaculator,
right?
He's such a whiny little bitch. Like he was a no. I think the Jared character,
I don't think I've ever seen, like, I feel like I'm acting as if I'm not this huge anti Justin Theroux person, but which I'm not. God bless him. Good luck to him. But I don't think that he has ever been hunky in anything that he's ever done.
I mean, he's not my cup of tea either, but I know people love him.
Who?
My followers love him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But he's not for me.
Maybe they're fake accounts created by his team.
Can you imagine? No, he's not for me either. So let's go with not, because Jared in season 1 that he played was also kind of...
Doesn't matter what he's playing. Doesn't matter what movie he's in. I'm never a Justin Theroux guy. And I'm sorry, Justin.
What about Dominic, who was Samantha's love of her life in the early seasons? Remember? And he's he's a well-known actor. I can't even think. I think he had the curly hair, and he's they're a very kind. He looks like Warren. Someone described him on my Instagram recently as a Timo version of Warren Beatty.
Okay.
Or Beatty? Is it Beatty?
Warren Beatty.
We say Beatty, but
Warren Beatty.
So
okay.
I would say not.
Yeah, I would say not.
But don't you think that a lot of the people from the men in the early seasons were pretty gross?
I mean, I was not ever hanging any of these guys on my wall. I think that, I mean, I love David Duchovny. He's on the list. He's probably my big winner.
Yeah, David. Oh, God, I love Californication. It's one of my favorite shows.
And
what
he's
an
such a good actor.
show.
And he's so filled with, I don't know, interesting charisma.
He's a fabulous actor. Barkley, who was, of course, played by your man from Suits. Gabriel Marked. Hot or not?
Yeah, he's cute.
He used to film women having sex, though.
Yeah.
Which was weird. So you couldn't really be like, this is the problem.
Listen, weird is good for me. I like weird.
You like funky. So I think that it's weird with the men is that every single man that was in it had a problem. So it's very hard to find them attractive because they all had these weird sex issues or weird quirks.
Well, I actually liked her chemistry with him, though, too. And I liked her kind of being...
But they'd never even slept together, which was so weird.
Yeah, I just thought they were kind of... Right, I liked that friendship. Actually, he should have been a bigger character. Because in the beginning, they sort of had those other friends that were like around the city for her more than just the 4 girls. And he would have been an interesting character to develop.
Well, that brings me on to another one, Skipper.
Yeah, I love the movie by Greg Berlanti, which wonderful Andrew Keegan is in. The Broken Hearts Club, a romantic comedy, and Skipper's in that. Good actor. Obviously, I'm not tremendously attracted to him, but
you're being very, very diplomatic in that answer, because I think I hated Skipper. Now I do understand that he was in the books,
right?
And at the start they were trying to follow the books quite closely, and so I think that's why he was in so much. But it was so redundant to me as a character.
So, and again, I want to just go back to the fact that I think that the actors who come in to play the bad date, to play the guy who is clearly not Prince Charming, there's something to be said for these actors. And, we're seeing them in a light, especially Skipper, that is whiny, that is, he's obviously not Prince Charming. So to rate the men on that scale, when you see him in a Broken Hearts Club, a romantic comedy, he's in the same world to some degree, but he's playing a different kind of character. And, we love Steve, right? And Steve is not hang him up on your wall guy.
No, that's right. And that's where I think we got to see the development of those characters, whereas some of these guest stars, we wish that we could have seen a bit more of.
Right.
Like, I think, Bill Kelly could have been in it more than 2 episodes. Yeah. I think he was quite fascinating. But
maybe he would have been a better choice for Samantha.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because with Samantha, she slept with some absolute dingers. Like, I keep seeing and going, why would she sleep? What about the guy with the the maid who was like a Thai maid.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, Mister," like whatever his name, and it was the whole thing.
More problematic. Yeah.
And the guy was so disgusting that, like, I'm really sorry to say that, but he was just like, "Why are you sleeping with this guy?" And then we were discussing on my Instagram recently about the issue with the masseuse at Helena Rubinstein. So she finds out that this guy Kevin goes down on women while he's giving them a massage.
Right.
So she goes in there to seduce him, and everyone's like, "But why does she need to do that?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
why does this woman need to do that?" Like, it was always sleeping with these people for, like, look at the old guy she sleeps with. I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah.
The one who's seen with Donald Trump.
Yeah, the butt.
Yeah. And then he's like 70s, whatever. And it's like, we're supposed to believe she sleeps with him because she wants jewelry. It's like, we're so confused by what you're trying to say Samantha is.
Yes.
Like, what is she? Because they just didn't position her right for me a lot. And then and we'll talk about this when we go on to Carrie as a anti-hero.
Yeah.
People say Samantha was the main character. She should have been the main character. Really, though?
Yeah, I know.
Could she have been the main character?
I don't think the audience would have liked her as much as the main character. And I think that's okay. I think that it's great to be the pinch hitter that everybody loves.
Yeah.
You know?
We might as well let's go on to discuss it, because why not?
Carrie,
it brings us to a natural. So we've tied up the men of Sex and the City quite nicely. I think there's 107 of them, so we've missed a load of them out. If you're one of them, I'm so sorry, you just weren't memorable.
A message, Dawn, and then we'll get your reaction later.
We did talk about this a while, how fun it would be to interview every single one of those men. And I know Kristen has been trying to do that on the podcast, but I feel like she's so sweet. She's not going to ask the questions we would want to ask.
The nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty of it. But
well, I think that's an interesting perspective too. If you were going to, I mean, who reads books anymore? I wish they did. But if you were going to ask guys about coming into a show, for example, Justin Theroux, who obviously wanted a very big career, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the way his publicity team is structured is, so was he okay with playing a guy who was a douche or whatever it is? And I think that there's an interesting actor perspective on coming into a show that big and getting the audience's first reaction of you to be, ew, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
And kudos to the male actors who did that.
Absolutely. And I think that just from talking through this, stuff came up to me that I'd never really thought about before. And it is interesting. They are secondary characters. The men are the secondary characters in Sex and the City, but they are very instrumental to developing the female characters and to telling a story.
And women have been used like that in entertainment. Like, this is what makes the show so progressive and so revolutionary. How many women have come in to play the ugly girl or the bitch girl or this girl or whatever that's the wrong girl for the guy? You know, they made an entire show over like 107 guys who are the wrong guy, who these actors came onto the biggest show on television to play the antithesis of Prince Charming. And
they were probably just so happy to get on the show because
I'm sure. Huge. And again, the characters are good characters, and most of them did them very, very well.
Yeah.
So, while I don't think this, like, if you want to go through the guys of 90210, we can really have
we can go in.
Yeah, like,
but this isn't like, I don't actually think the men were cast in terms of their calendar appeal, because I'm not hanging any of them on
and even if you were, they made sure to make them a guy who wants to be peed on or wants this or wants that.
Yeah, it was almost like, he's hot, and then we'll make, like, the cop was the only one for me who actually was totally unflawed, and she fucked it up because of her own insecurities.
Well, I think the women fucked it up a lot.
This is what we'll talk about now. So let's go on to the fact that, so we'll talk specifically about Carrie, but I think it's important to talk about the others in the same vein as well. So one of the things that's come up, I never thought of it as a young girl watching the show. She was my hero, Carrie Bradshaw. She was my, I wanted to be her. I liked to smoke Marlboro Lights because I just wanted to look like her smoking a cigarette. Like, I was absolutely obsessed with everything about
quit smoking?
her. Yeah, I did now.
Okay,
so
good,
sad.
good.
I love to smoke.
No,
it was my favorite. It was my favorite thing.
Smoking.
No, I quit a long time ago, but I wanted to smoke because of her. Yeah, she was my hero. Right. But now there's a massive thing that's going on in social media, which is, was Carrie the heroine or was she the villain of her own story?
Yes.
Discuss. So what do we think about this?
So first and foremost, I think that you say you want to be like her, so you were smoking. This is why they've banned smoking on network television.
Absolutely. When I watch it now, she smoked a disgusting amount.
A lot, yeah.
It actually is quite obscene to kind of see her doing it now, but at the time she was so cool. The way she strutted down the street, I wanted to strut like that. I felt like I perfected a strut just to be like Carrie.
I think Carrie's a hero.
You think so?
Completely.
Do you think she's a narcissist?
Yeah, I think Carrie's a very flawed individual, and I think that she has tons of problems, and there's a lot of things that she does that are wrong. But I think that in terms of media, she's a total hero, and like again, even where Carrie ended up in Just Like That, the trajectory of Carrie. Much like Ally McBeal, who also was a very
I love that show.
Great show, and Callista Flockhart, a phenomenal actress.
Yes,
sort of paved the way in some ways for Sarah Jessica Parker on Sex and the City.
Yeah,
really openly a flawed character, and openly someone who is, thinking that she's looking for Prince Charming, and very openly the worst version of a girl, right? But there's so many girls like that, so many people like that out there. So you're tapping into something, and then ultimately structuring the mindset for, in Ally McBeal, she does end up alone. And at the end of Just Like That, Carrie is back to herself.
and she ends on, yeah.
So for me, if you are going to tell women who are problematic that that's the end result, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah. So she gets called a narcissist. That's one of the big criticisms.
She is.
They talk about chaotic decision making from Carrie.
Right.
Yeah. But she was kind of a hot mess.
Yeah.
I don't think she was pretending not to be a hot mess either.
No, I think, and if you see the show Girlfriends also, they're very flawed. And I think that that's amazing that Mara Brockett-Keel put a show on the air for 4 women of color that were flawed. And, I think that Carrie is, if Carrie was just the perfect feminist for 6 seasons, how sick of the show would the audience have been?
What about the criticism that she was a terrible friend?
So as someone who really prides myself on being a great friend, I think that, yeah, there was problems in that area too, obviously.
And when you go back and look at it, she was pretty awful at kind of ditching her friends when they needed her.
Yeah.
But then she was also great at being there. So
but so many women do that.
But that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Is it kind of... It's true to life, though.
Right.
Like, what? It's like, do we expect her just to be this sort of photocopy of a perfect person?
No.
Like, no, not really. What about being a bad girlfriend? So that
she was a bad girlfriend
with the regards to cheating. Yes.
Yeah.
She verged on being a stalker.
So I think that she is a tremendously problematic character, and would I want to date Carrie? No, but in terms of media and revolutionizing the media, I think that she is a heroic character. I mean, and I think that that's what the movie Barbie should have focused more on too. Barbie had so many good ideas that never got there.
Yeah.
In terms of feminism, it really thought it was the most feminist.
Oh,
movie of all
I
time.
didn't enjoy it at all.
Not
really.
at all.
I thought it was.
And,
I thought it was pith.
And really, it's like, you're going to tell me that this is a feminist movie, but you took the movie away from Barbie and made Ryan Gosling the star.
Right.
Like, give me a break.
He's so freaking gorgeous.
But give me a break. That's the star of the Barbie movie, and it's a feminist movie. You can have all the monologues you want in the movie. You shit the bed if you are saying that this is a feminist movie and you made Ken the star of the movie.
Absolutely.
And I think that in Carrie's case, she is the star of that show, flawed or not, perfect feminist or not. And in the end, she revolutionized multiple generations of women. It's still popular today that they don't need a man to be whoever they are.
Right. And I think it's younger audiences that are propelling this big hate for Carrie. I don't know why. I think it's because they're coming from a different generation.
I don't think they hate Carrie. I think that young people are watching this show in droves. Like, it's amazing how many Gen Z and know the show backwards and forwards.
I think that what they're saying, what people say who are just being super constructive about it, is watching Carrie makes us cringe because it reminds us of our own mistakes.
Yeah.
And, let's talk about Natasha for a second. She full on obsessed about her. Yeah. And she full on kind of stalked her as well, in Just Like That as well. Yeah. There was that element.
I'm glad they gave Bridget Moynihan that scene. And I had spoken to Bridget Moynihan about that before it had happened, long before it had happened.
Right.
And Bridget Moynihan deserved that scene. She's a very talented actress. She did a great job in showcasing that Natasha was never the enemy here. Yeah. And I think that in Just Like That also covered the fact that Carrie is a really problematic person. Yeah. And she is. But a flawed character is the best thing in entertainment.
But it's, I just had this debate with everybody on Instagram, and, there was this, a lot of people were saying, how stupid that she obsessed about this girl. What? That's so normal. So any woman that says they haven't obsessed about their ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend or wife, that's just normal.
Good, you know what? If you watch the show and you're like, oh, I shouldn't do that, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe if you learn something from it, that this is not the way you should act.
Yeah. But I've done that before. It's huge human nature to compare.
I don't want to sit here and be like, wow, I'm just standing up for Carrie in all regards. She is a tremendously flawed character.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but she's a
problematic.
human being, which
Right.
is what we see all the time.
Yeah.
And Natasha was a mirror, which was really interesting. The Carrie, and she's so gorgeous as well.
Beautiful.
And she's
In
so
person as
different to Carrie. Like Sarah Jessica Parker is gorgeous. The most incredible body, the most incredible
She's quirky.
She has that thing. She has that quality. But she's quirky and she's not classically beautiful in a way that Bridget Moynihan is.
Listen, I think that Carrie Bradshaw, because your favorite show's Friends, is a much better character than Rachel Green.
Well, I'm a Monica fan, so because
Okay,
Monica is my
I can live with Monica.
personality.
Phoebe's
Yeah.
the best girl of that bunch for
yeah,
sure.
no,
but,
definitely.
But I think that Rachel Green is probably the worst character ever created for society and for women.
Oh no, right, we're not getting onto this because I just finished
Awful.
a podcast about
Awful.
Friends. But I think that the Natasha thing was so hard for Carrie to take, and they cast her so beautifully because she was night and day different to what Carrie was.
Which they showed
Carrie
even
was
in
the
her-
chaotic, and she was the
Years later.
Katie girl. You know,
Right.
she was the kind of, she felt like she was inferior. And so one of the things that came up recently, people were discussing with me, you know, at the end of the episode where she gets the thank you for the luncheon and
Yeah.
Natasha didn't attend, and she's like, Miranda, the girl's an idiot. She says that she spelt there.
Yeah,
wrong.
I would say that too if I read that.
Yeah, well, I think that's also, and people are like, you know, what a bitch. Like, who would do that? Most people
No, I would.
do that.
I would. I do that to your face if you message me the wrong there.
Yeah, no,
So,
you do that.
I know.
You do that to me.
I do. Do I? I must.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I feel
do.
like you do that. Which
I
is
do
fine.
that a lot.
But that's
yeah.
a normal. I
So
feel
I'm
like,
a horrible person, just
no,
like Carrie.
I
and
just
that's
think
why
that
I like
that's.
her.
I think that
No.
that's a human thing, and I think that people.
You should listen. You should not use the wrong there. Also.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're saying, and people are like, well, you know, Natasha, that's stupid writing because Natasha would never say the wrong there. Okay, because we are presenting her as this like Ivy League,
Right.
you know, like, well, kind of Kate Middleton character, you know, she's
Yeah.
been bred, you know, she's not Carrie, she's not messy.
Right.
But at the same time, it's totally human that if you are so intimidated by this person because you can't compete with
You're
her
happy
beauty,
to see a mistake.
You're happy to see a mistake.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand the criticism of that because I'm like, yeah, everybody would take delight in
Right.
that. We'd all go, this is
No,
one
there's
thing.
tons of moments where you're rolling your eyes at Carrie. You're like, oh God, stop.
Yeah.
You know, but again, all things considered, and the one that I really want to talk about is I know you're. This is where we really disagree.
We really disagree on this
We
subject.
really disagree on the subject. I love that Carrie does not like animals.
Why do you love that? Because obviously I'm a massive animal.
That was for me the biggest mistake of And Just Like That is that she got the cat.
I
get
agree with that.
I get the Audrey Hepburn, the Breakfast at Tiffany's, they named the cat, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that the idea of Carrie snarling at the dog, you know, Snow White is the perfect female. She sings to birds.
Yeah.
She's, you know, she loves animals. Cruella de Vil is messy and doesn't like animals. And so women have been so stigmatized to like animals. If you are a good person, you have to like the child, you have to like the animal.
Oh, I don't
and
like the children.
So there you go. I
Yeah,
mean,
I've got 2 nieces and I love them more than anything, but they're the only ones.
right. You're not like nurturing at all moments. And I think that, you know, Carrie, like, and that's more of where Aidan was not for her. He had this big dog. He was an
Petey.
animal person and she was not an animal lover. She wore fur as
She wore fur
Controversial?
prolifically. Yeah, she was always in fur. Yes.
how do we say the word? Controversial. It was very controversial. And I understand for PETA why they don't like that and stuff, but as a character choice, and maybe everyone out there thinks this character is a horrible person the way you would think Cruella de Vil's a horrible person.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I totally understand why you feel that way. But I think for this character who was not supposed to be trying to be perfect for men, trying to be exactly what men wanted her to be, I think it was an important part of her story was that she was not the sing to birds girl.
Yeah.
She was not the I like a wedding dress girl.
Yes.
You know? And
yeah, you're right. No, and even though
love that.
I disagree with you on the animal subject because
Yeah.
I'm a huge animal lover,
Right.
like animal rights, that's my bag. You know me,
Right.
that's
And
what I'm all about.
I think that's really
so
respectful.
that was one thing that
Respectable.
didn't resonate with me about Carrie because I always thought of myself as a Carrie, and that was the one thing that I was like, okay, we're not similar,
Right.
and I don't wear fur, you know, but I do still
And
appreciate
how great is
the
that
looks.
that didn't like it unfortunately got you to smoke, but she can't
Yeah,
get you to
but-
wear she can't get you to wear fur.
Right?
And
No,
that's great. And that's why people are nuanced and no one's a monolith, you know?
Yeah.
But in the case of her character, I think it was really important to her story that she wasn't a sing to bird Snow White. And
Yeah,
she wasn't.
and I'll buy that. And I also think you're right. It did not make any sense for her to get a cat and be all lovey-dovey. Like it was like, I think it was another thing, and just like that made everybody go, I'm so confused. Like, what are
Sarah
you doing?
Jessica Parker started to infuse a lot of Carrie.
Well, that was going to be my next question for you. When do we think that Carrie Bradshaw became SJP? Because I
Season
think
5.
Really,
I mean, maybe a little earlier, but
interesting.
I mean, I think that once we started getting to Strawberry Milkshake, that is Sarah Jessica Parker. The No Parsley, that is Sarah Jessica Parker through and through.
Yeah, because one of the things that does seem to be very her, which I don't know when we first started to see it, she was a sex columnist who was a prude.
Yeah.
She was, like, for the most part, she had an issue with so many things, like, you know,
which is
to pee or not to pee.
Right.
She was very much like, no, it's fine, have your boundaries, but you were also a sex columnist, so this is not something that should be totally shocking to you.
Yeah.
Some of Samantha's stories.
Well, what was interesting about Carrie was that, I mean, and I think that we keep covering this, and you know, same with Ally McBeal. She's a contradictory person.
Yes.
Right? And that's why it's like, it's such a moment of clarity in the 6th season of, let me figure out who I am. Because she's someone who asks a lot of questions, much like Ally McBeal did. It's like everything about her is a contradiction. And so many people out there are like that.
Yeah.
Like, you love Carrie and blah, 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 but you wouldn't wear fur and stuff. Like, it's like, we're filled with contradictions as people.
Yeah,
and I think that's okay. You know, I think that her not being completely consistent makes her even more consistent.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the biggest criticism that people have, that she just, and that's where I want to touch on this whole blending of the actress into the real life person, is that I think what I read from SJP is that she is quite
coquettish was your word in one of your videos. I
like
loved that word. I love when you talk. Like, I could watch you forever.
What do you like me saying when I say gamine?
I love it. I love it.
And I think I use that a lot, because I think this gamine is. I was watching Kylie Minogue, who I am a huge fan of. I was watching her doc last night, and she's gamine in the early years with Michael Hutchence, when she got the short crop, and she's just. That's a whole other subject. Me and Kylie forever love.
You whenever you speak, I think you're so intelligent, and I think
that's so nice. Sometimes I talk shit, but because I say it in a certain way, I get away with it.
You know what you're talking about. You really are a fan as well, and you are the kind of content that I could watch all day, every day.
I'm so glad. Well, let's hope more people feel that way. So
obviously they do. You have a good audience.
Yeah, I have a really good audience, and I think that we have a good.
And sometimes it's better to have a loyal audience of good people who really like you for you than
I agree than a huge watered down audience. And I think my audience love the fact that we do these kind of and that's why I wanted you to come on, because it's nice to have that open discussion about the characters, because I'm never going to sit here and say awful, horrible, whatever. No, I'm not. It's not who I am.
No.
I do like to discuss it. I like to give people the room to have that discussion. And I like to have different opinions, and I'm always happy to hear them. But I have so many people coming at me going, I can't believe you said that on the comment box. What? Like, this is a discussion.
And you never say
trying
anything.
To be the moderator.
You never
here.
say anything nasty for sport.
No, I say a lot of. I'm a very sarcastic person.
Yeah,
I'm also
funny.
British, so we do say cutting things for fun. It's for game.
Everybody in conversation is going to say something that someone didn't.
But also,
like
would you watch my comment boxes if I didn't say anything interesting? What would be the point?
No.
Like, so am I supposed to be like super vanilla?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that I think Sarah Jessica Parker in real life is
very well. I think she's been open about that.
Composed.
She gives a good interview, and she said that, like, when Bette Midler said something wrong, she's like, "Oh, I can't wait till I get to be the age that I don't care about what people think." And
she still cares very deeply.
She does,
and you know, she won't, like, she didn't comment on the John Corbett masturbation scene. She didn't comment on it, and this is where I thought she was going to get cancelled at one moment. The Howard Stern interview, she's asked, "What did you think about that? Like, he's there. It's got a lot of attention. It's kind of
she acted above the scene."
She said that she didn't even know what he was talking about, and he was like, "But you're in the scene on the phone.
Right.
How you're at a table read? I'm an actor. Like, I'm an actor. I know
Producer
that
on the show.
we do a table read. Like, you're in it. Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know anything. I don't watch the show." And she said, "I don't watch the show." And then she says, talk about digging yourself a hole.
Yeah.
She then says, I didn't watch Sex and the City either. And
Right.
the wave of just hate that came in at that.
Yeah.
Because it's like a kick in the teeth. I've made almost a career out of talking about the clothes from the show and recreating your scenes because I love you and I love your acting. I love how you deliver stuff. The lines have facial expressions. And you're telling me you don't give a fuck?
And especially when the show is so revolutionary and people want you to believe in it. You know, they want you to believe in what you're saying and stuff. And I think she does to some extent, you know.
Yeah.
I think that she is a smart businesswoman who, just doesn't want to be seedy.
Yeah.
Like that's her whole thing is she doesn't want to be
And I get
seedy.
it. It's just a shame
everything
because
with lovely. Oh my God, everything's lovely. That's her for sure.
You were so like her then with the hands and everything. She does.
I can't do her like you can.
No, but that's like she is like that.
I told you I want to be Aidan in your recreations. A 5'1" Aidan.
You can do that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh my God, you would do it so well.
Do
that's the thing, and I think you're right. At some point, she got too much power, and she put too much of her into Carrie.
There was definitely a Sarah Jessica Parker stamp on Carrie.
Yeah, and sure. I mean, I think in Just Like That, they should have just changed the name of the character. She shouldn't have been Carrie anymore. They should have just called her Sarah. You know what I mean? Because she just was her.
But at the same time, I think that her stamp, is what got the show where it was to begin with. And
she's the star.
And she's incredible. And, if that's like, listen, I guess, especially when you're at her level of fame, it is a collaborative process, and her collaboration into this show is iconic and important.
Because just to circle back, kind of to finish up, this idea that people say that Samantha was the star, and I do disagree with that. I think she was probably a strong and great character.
For sure.
But so I think Carrie was like the emotional heartbeat of the show. And then you have these other three women who are really strong characters, but their relationships with each other are very different.
Yes.
And we see different peaks and troughs with them. Like, for example, Charlotte with Samantha when she sleeps with her brother that you were talking about. I know you know him. Samantha sleeps with Charlotte's
Jack
brother.
Mulcahy, yeah.
And
Lovely
Charlotte
guy.
talks to Samantha as if she's a frenemy, like someone she doesn't even know that well, not one of her best friends. She's sort of, and it's really confusing because you're like, and she's like, there's another episode. She goes, why is she here? It's like, whoa, hang on, what's happening?
I think one thing, like if we're talking about epiphanies in this podcast, it wouldn't have worked without Chris Noth. It wouldn't have worked without Sarah Jessica Parker. It wouldn't have worked without Kim Cattrall, who's an amazing, amazing addition to the show. The other two girls, Kristen and Cynthia, it wouldn't have worked without Patricia Field. It wouldn't have worked without Darren Star and Michael Patrick King. And when it all came together, whether or not they all still love each other or enjoy each other, whatever, it was lightning in a bottle. Every single piece of that puzzle was tremendously important to create this show that is one of the top 5 most iconic television shows of all time.
100%, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And one of the most influential shows in terms of
and every person might have had a problem or might have not whatever it is. Every person might have brought something good and bad to the table, but when it all came together in that table, it was perfect for what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's and kudos to every single person, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael Patrick King, Darren Star, Patricia Field. Every single person played an important piece of that puzzle, and they came together very well, and they made, again, history.
And it really was actually quite true to life, because that dynamic of the idea of one person being sort of the central person in the group is actually quite true to life.
Yeah.
And the fact that you would have these other relationships that have these very different dynamics.
I think Sarah Jessica Parker is underrated as an actress because of
She's
Carrie.
a phenomenal actress.
Hocus Pocus and First Wives Club and how she does comedy. And
her physical comedy is I try and recreate it all the time. It's unbelievable.
Oh my God. And she's very theatrical.
The eyebrows and
I think she's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that what she brought to Carrie Bradshaw, if she needs to bring her own stamp in there on top of it, it is what it is. Carrie's her character.
Yeah. And I think the answer to the question is hero.
I
think so, and I would be ridiculous for me to say anything different.
I think that she's a great character. I think Sarah Jessica Parker played her very well. I think the show is what it is, and she's a huge part of that. Yeah.
And we're going to finish up, but we didn't talk much about Mario, and I know that you know Mario.
Mario Cantone.
And in terms of him his role in the show, how did you feel like he slotted in there? And we didn't talk about Stanford, and we probably just need to for the last couple of minutes. So Stanford is probably my favorite male character
I
on
love
the show.
Stanford, and I love Mario Cantone. I love Anthony. I think that Mario Cantone is brilliant. If you ever, and he should so be on this show. Please be on this show. For
Yeah,
Dawn.
we would love that.
I think that Mario Cantone is brilliant, and he is one of the best people to talk about the show with.
Do you think he should have married Stanford?
No.
It was a weird choice,
No,
given
yeah.
that amazing chemistry of hating each other for so long, and it was.
And I think they like in the reboot when they when Willie unfortunately passed.
Yeah.
I think they handled that very well instead of making it yet another grieving situation.
I mean, I personally hated that he apparently became a monk and moved somewhere. I thought it was fucking nonsense.
They could have done something else.
I think Stanford was a very integral and important.
No, for
cast
sure.
Member.
But I also
without
think,
him,
I think keeping Stanford alive and not like, you know, I remember Michael Patrick King said it wasn't charming, the death. Like, we don't want to use the death. And I thought that was right. And I think that I think Mario Cantone has a lot to say about the show and the reboot. And he is so smart and of course hilariously funny and also beautiful. Like honestly, he's in his 60s and
he still looks fantastic.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal.
Was he friends with Willie in real life? Do you know?
I believe he was. I don't think we spoke about that.
I know Willie and Sarah Jessica Parker were very close. But you can see that in their scenes together. Carrie and Stanford are some of the best scenes in the show.
Yeah, they have great chemistry. You know, back on just Sarah Jessica for one more minute. I think what was interesting in the reboot, and I, as someone who has been wild in my life and stuff like that, when it came back, and she was sitting there doing her podcast, and they were talking about things, and she's like, "Whoa, when did I get to be a prude?" First of all, her character was always kind of a prude.
Yeah.
And second of all, sometimes when you open the door for other people and then other people come in and like, you're just like, whoa, what did I do? Because I've always been quite revolutionary in the way I think and stuff. And yet a lot of the people today, I'm just like, how am I a prude? How am I too conservative for this crowd?
Yeah.
And I think they covered that really well in the reboot, actually. One of the few things that they covered really well was that she was a lot more conservative than the generation that she paved the way for.
Right.
And isn't that going to be the way it is? You know?
Absolutely. And I think we'll end on that because this is such a big subject. I've said this before. You could talk for days about Sex and the City.
I could talk to you for the rest of my life, Dawn.
Oh,
and I could listen to you for the rest of my life. So when you asked me to come on, I'm
so happy that you agreed to come on. I knew we'd have a fantastic discussion.
I think you're the best thing in media.
Oh,
so I really do.
This has been so perfect. I know you weren't like 100% like you wanted to come and do the podcast, but I hope that you did enjoy it.
No, I totally listen. Again, first I get to talk to you. Second, if I got to help you in any way, I don't know.
You do because you know we're doing a podcast here where we want to have opinions and discussions, and we want to talk about all those things. And sometimes I don't want to talk about the obvious stuff that everyone talks about. No, and
I think that your audience is a Sex and the City audience and a fashion audience.
Yeah.
I'd love to even talk about fashion and stuff, but
we didn't touch on that today, and there's so much more of that.
But I do think that you are for them such a wonderful, like, again, there's so many Ginas from the gym posting their lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And what you post, what you do on your own as an entrepreneur and as a host is incredible. And I think that you're one of the best things in media. I hope
fluffing me.
I hope that you get all the stars on this show because
you
are a true pro.
Thank you.
I'm so honored.
Well, thank you for coming and giving me your time and all of your opinions, which were just fantastic. And we didn't even argue about the animal thing.
Nothing.
We were like so nice to each other. Like, wow.
I know.
No, you've been amazing, and I'm so happy to have you on. And you are welcome back anytime. And I won't make you go to Staten Island.
Wait, no, I think it's a good idea.
He's into
Staten
it now.
Island.
He's into it. I feel like he's warming up to the idea.
Listen, we're business people, right? We do
yeah.
this. Staten Island, invite us. Show us the beauty of Staten Island. Show us what's the best restaurant in Staten Island. We'll come.
Yeah, there's so much more to talk about.
It's got to be a table of at least 6.
And I'll try and get him back to talk about 90210. Now you've put the idea in my head.
Can I bring Jenny Garth's beautiful daughter, Luca Bella?
You want me to? Do you think I'm going to say no? Of course you can.
She's the best.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for coming. And guys, that was another episode of the Icons Edit. Join me next time for more Icons, fashion, fabulousness.
Thanks, guys.